Hello and welcome to the So New News. In today's program, we are summing up the year 2020. Good luck and farewell to it, honestly. From hard news to soft news, from drama to trauma, you will surely remember the whole year as it is. To start with news in politics, please welcome Alexandra Klementyeva. Hi.
Thank you, Maxim. So 2020 was obviously particularly rich for major political events around the world. People could say that 2020 was the worst year in history, but this time will remain in people's memory for a long time unequivocally. Speaking about politics, this year immediately began with such a major global event that is known as Brexit. In January, the UK withdrew from the European Union and the European Atomic Energy Community. So the UK is today the first and only country to formally leave the European Union after 47 years of membership and integration. Under the agreement with the European Union on January 31st, 2020, the UK will remain part of the single economic space until the end of 2020. The coronavirus pandemic, which has kept people irritated, has become one of the reasons for increasing public discontent around the world. On May 26, George Floyd protests began. Civil unrest and protests began as part of international responses to the death of a 46-year-old African American man who was killed during an arrest. These actions led to the numerous legislative initiatives against police violence and systematic racism. On August 9th, presidential elections were held in Belarus. According to the official results of the vote, Alexandra Lukashenko was elected president of the country, and it caused strong discontent among the population. Immediately after the announcement of the preliminary results of voting, mass protests unfolded throughout the country. However, Lukashenko was secretly inaugurated and is now officially recognized as the legitimate head of state. One tumultuous elections were followed by another. The 2020 US presidential election was held on November 3rd. The elections were won by Biden. At the same time, Trump did not recognize his defeat and intends to challenge the result in court. On November 23rd, Trump ordered the Office of General Services to begin the process of transferring power to the Biden administration. Finally, the president will be elected on December 14th at the meeting of the Electoral College that is formed by popular vote. The political events of the year are finally summed up. We hope that no political surprises will happen this month. Elena Tyuleneva, you have the floor.
Thank you, Alexandra. Now to the science news of the year. Looking back, 2020 reminds me of an apocalyptic movie. What would humanity do if the Earth crashed? Of course, colonize Mars, believes Elon Musk. His private rocket company SpaceX has sent two NASA astronauts into the orbit on the Falcon 9 rocket. This is the first time since the retirement of the shuttles 9 years ago that an American crew has made the journey from US territory. Now, Musk's income soars as high as a rocket. According to Bloomberg ranking, he is the second richest person on the Earth. By the way, Russia keeps abreast in this fast-paced world, but on land. The Gamaleya Institute invented the first COVID-19 vaccine, Sputnik V. It is said that it is 95% effective and causes no major side effects, but it is still undergoing mass testing. Russia has already started its vaccination program. Stay healthy. You still have a new year to celebrate. This year is full of breakthroughs in the smartphone industry. The phone that doubles as a notebook is not a daydream, it is a reality. Microsoft Surface Duo opens like a spiral binder, revealing a pair of screens. You can become a hero of multitasking using it as a digital notebook, dragging items from one app to another, getting some writing down on one screen while chatting or making a phone call on the other at the same time. It feels like a glimpse into the future of mobile computing, isn't it? That was all about science. It's time to hear about news in education from Kortel.
Thank you, Elena. And now, of course, to the positive news of education. We all know about quarantine. Its introduction greatly influenced education. Since March 16, all educational institutions in Russia have switched to distance learning, following the recommendations of the Ministry of Education and Science. Until the end of the year, all school children and students were on distance learning. Even the entrance exams were held online for the first time. Many events, including proms, balls, and graduation parties, have been cancelled due to the coronavirus. But I hasten to please you. Since September, all school children and students have returned to their educational institutions. In all universities, a special regime was introduced. Students were provided with masks, there were notes, and recommendations about the mandatory preservation of the social distancing. I'm sorry? What? They didn't come back? Distant again? Okay, I'm sorry, I wanted to say that since September they have continued to study online. And does anyone go to school? Children? In addition, school children from the 1st to the 5th grade now go to schools. And everyone else is sitting at home. That's logical, I think. But don't worry, soon everyone will return to their universities and schools. Soon, am I right? Nobody knows. Well, nobody knows when, but they will be definitely coming back. We hope. Two more joyful news. Julia Bagirova with Theatre Digest.
Thank you, Bella. Moving on to the theatrical updates brought to us by the Real Drama Queen Year. Due to the pandemic situation, a lot of theaters got plunged into the clouds of uncertainty and had to face some changes in the formats of the performances. Some theaters stayed loyal to the old concept, others moved to such platforms as YouTube and Zoom, giving a burst to the new kind of theater, the progressive digital theater. During the quarantine, all people had to limit their communication with each other. The same thing happened to the heroes of the Zoom play called Choose the Three, directed by Evgeny Kamenkovich in Fomenko's workshop. The characters of this performance need to make a complicated decision that will permanently affect their future and social life. Apart from the online performances, some theaters came up with a completely innovative idea of phone call shows. Take a better look, or better listen, so to say, of Hello, an early quarantine performance directed by Boris Pavlovich in collaboration with the Union of Theatre Workers. This play is a dialogue between one actress and one spectator. The immersive phone call transfers the theatergoer to another epoch and shares some brand new impressions. Step by step, the classic offline format gets back on track. The path-breaking shows continued in autumn with Yuri Butusev presenting the offline premiere named Sun, based on Florian Zeller's play. This inventive performance is all about Hamlet in every one of us. It underlines the unwillingness of comprehension. It shows self-destruction and injustice in the world, stated the director. As if this year hasn't been distracting us the whole time. That's all with the theatrical digest, and on to the cinematography news with Nata Guseva.
Thank you, Julia. And now let's move to the movie news. This year has put absolutely everyone in a difficult situation, and the film industry was no exception, which is why a huge number of films have moved to the streaming services. Online platforms actively participate in the creation of feature films. For example, The Irishman by Martin Scorsese was created by Netflix. The Warner Bros. Announced its decision to release new films simultaneously in cinema and on the HBO Max streaming services. Speaking of online premieres, on December 4th, Netflix released David Fincher's Mank, his first film after a 6-year break. But not everyone has decided to sacrifice the big screen this year. Christopher Nolan's film Tenet has been the first to be released in cinemas in 70 countries since the beginning of the pandemic. It's hard to believe that there was another life before quarantine, but let me help you remember some important films that you may have missed. A monochromed thriller, The Lighthouse by Robert Eggers, with mermaids, seagull, Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, received an Oscar nomination for his photography.
What? That's what I mean!
The incredible 1917 won 3 Oscars and 7 BAFTA awards. Made with the effect of a single shot, the film takes us on a long journey with a soldier to carry a warning letter. And finally, a hooliganic film The Gentleman by Guy Ritchie, after which everyone started dreaming about checkered sports suits. On the other hand, what could be more interesting than the life of the king of criminal jungle and drugs? We'll be looking forward to the future releases, and now let's move on to the...
Thank you. Maxim D, spelled with the Z, is here in the studio with some pop music news. We all know that 2020 from the very beginning had us all freaking out for the Damn, the Miss, the Lady Gaga. First planned to be released on the 10th of April, her album Chromatica was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic to the 29th of May. Consisting of 16 tracks, 3 of which are instrumentals marking each part of the 3-piece record, the album was nominated for the Best Pop Vocal Album at the upcoming 63rd Annual Grammy Awards. Burning the dance floor and surely the repeat button, the album featured Ariana Grande, K-pop band Blackpink, and Sir Elton John in the last act of the dance pop electronica masterpiece. Unbiased opinion. British singer Rina Sawayama dropped the single STFU in the end of November of 2019, announcing the upcoming album titled after the singer's last name, Sawayama. The record came out later on the 17th of April and it rocked. And sure did rock all the summer long, receiving widespread acclaim from music critics. On December 4th, she released the deluxe version of the album with, hold it, 4 new songs. The deluxe version also consisted of lives, acoustic versions and remixes to follow that. From US to UK and now to Australia, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Ariana Grande, Rina Sawayama and now the queen of Australian disco pop, the incomparable Kylie Minogue, dropped her album Disco on the 6th of November. With funky moves, catchy beats and vocals that make you dance, Kylie's lyrics once again make us fall in love. And not only with her, but with the songs also. Reaching at number 1 in the main Australian top chart, the album surprised the listeners with 12 songs in the standard edition and 16 in deluxe. What a treat! I invite all of you to the Christmas dance party, and no, you don't have to come over. Just put on any of the list above albums and dance like there's no tomorrow. Or, in our case, like there's no yesterday. Thank God the 2020 is ending. Well, to catch you up with some memorable internet sensations, Alena Turenko.
Thank you, Maxim. So, while all of us have been on lockdown for 6 months now, Harvey Weinstein is going to be on his own for 23 years for his sins. Speaking of disgusting people and other parasites, let's not forget about the Oscar-winning movie Parasite and its fabulous director, whose after-rewarding photoshoot went viral all over the internet. Well, who wouldn't dance, sing and make Titanic gestures with several Oscars in your hands? Now, some of us are checking new shows on Netflix while others are actually winning Emmys. Yeah, I'm talking about Zendaya, who received her award for the work in Euphoria show and broke the record for both being the youngest actress to win and being the cutest one. Considering her facial expressions and genuine happiness, which totally melted the hearts of social media users. It turns out that the quarantine has its own advantage. You can win the reward and immediately fall asleep visiting your arms, which Zendaya did. Regarding different euphorias, a great scandal/human rights battle happened over Russian football player Dzyuba, who accidentally masturbated during live translation, causing a great argument whether masturbation is okay. Well, Pobeda Airlines definitely deserved extra points, taken earlier for its non-reclining seats, for drawing a huge penis in the sky to cheer up Dzyuba. Apparently, you're nobody unless you have your own documentary. If earlier it was Mr. YouTube Originals, which provided us with documentaries from Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber, now it's the King Netflix that's on the roll. Taylor Swift's Miss Americana, Shawn Mendes' In Wonder, Blackpink's Light Up the Sky are now available on the platform. Oh, not to mention the royalty. Before the lockdown, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry managed to leave the royal house for good, causing a lot of noise. Also, this year the Queen is going to celebrate Christmas with her husband only, due to the COVID-19.
Thank you, Alena, for the news. Just as pop as the pop music news from Maxim D with the Z, right? Oh God. And it's finally a wrap on the news and 2020, of course. Thank you for watching. We'll keep you updated if something interesting happens.
Just in, well, the meteor crashed or something.
What? A meteor crashed? Get the See you next week. Stay healthy. A meteor crashed! God damn it.